In the headlines, reactions trail APC victory in Ekiti State as SDP rejects results. Kaduna State sacks NUT president, 2,356 teachers after competency test. Gunmen abduct village head son in Bauchi. And on the foreign news, EU diplomat Joseph Borrell slams blockade as war crime. Hello and welcome to Trust News Update. I'm Darshan Hussaina Usman. We begin with politics, where candidate of the All Progressives Congress, Abiodun Oyebanji, is now the governor-elect of Ekiti State. Appreciating the confidence reposed in him by the people of the state, Oyebanji is promising that his administration will operate an open-door policy that will ensure that all citizens are carried along. Trust TV reporter Kabir Lawal gives us an insight into the mood in the state after the elections.
The Ekiti election has a clear winner, Abiodun Oyebanji, who is governor-elect, garnering 187,057 votes, trailed by his Social Democratic Party counterpart, Segun Oni, with 82,211 votes, while the People's Democratic Party governorship candidate, BC Kolawole, polled 67,457 votes. Understandably, there are mixed reactions to the outcome of the elections. The SDP candidate, for instance, has rejected the result and insists that he will not congratulate the winner. There are also unproven allegations that the votes were bought. However, some residents are happy with the result and are insisting that the vote was hit-free.
We worked very hard, but God crowned our efforts, and we thank God for Bao.
It is God that gave us this victory. And Bao in person, his character, his behavior to the people of Ekiti State actually enhanced him this victory. And we thank God because it's a free election, no bloodshed. And
meanwhile, the governor-elect has promised that his administration will continue to uplift the people of the state.
We will work together with you to keep Ekiti working. I thank all other aspirants and their respective political parties for the dignified way they carried out their campaigns and for contributing to the credibility of the process. I will be seeking audience with you all in the coming days.
The Ekiti election was supposed to be a litmus test to adjudge how ready INEC was for the elections next year. It also throws more light on a key factor that must be overcome before the polls: voter apathy. With only 37% of registered voters casting their vote in this election, it is very obvious now that a lot more must be done in the area of voter mobilization. In Ekiti, Kabir Lawal, Trust TV News.
In the meantime, the Social Democratic Party has rejected the results of the just concluded governorship elections in Ekiti State. As candidate of the APC in the Ekiti governorship election, Abiodun Oyebanji emerged winner of the election, having scored 187,057 votes to defeat Segun Oni of the Social Democratic Party, who came second with 82,211 votes in the keenly contested governorship race. Trust TV's Shafiu Suleiman reports that the SDP has threatened to contest the results at the election tribunal. The report.
Declaring the results of the Saturday's poll, INEC returning officer Professor Kayode Oyebode says candidate of the major opposition People's Democratic Party PDP, VC Kolawole, also polled 67,457 votes to clinch the third position.
That Abiodun Abayomi Oyebanji of APC, having satisfied the requirements of the law, is hereby declared winner and is returned elected.
Meanwhile, the Social Democratic Party SDP has rejected the results of the governorship election, alleging massive voter inducement and orchestrated violence at the strongholds by the ruling party. Speaking exclusively to media trust platforms, agent of the SDP barrister Oseni Ajayi also threatened that his party will approach the tribunal to ensure justice, just as he declined to sign the result sheet. Reacting to the allegations, agent of the ruling APC Kayode Babade dismissed the claims, challenging SDP to provide proof, insisting that the claims were baseless. 16 political parties fielded candidates in the up-season election, which was manned by 17,000 policemen, over 9,000 civil defense corps, and supervised by 4 INEC national commissioners and 8 resident electoral commissioners. Shafiu Suleiman, Trust TV News, Abuja.
An aspirant on the platform of the All Progressives Congress in the just concluded Nasarawa West senatorial primary election, Labaran Magaji, has urged the National Working Committee of the party to set up a special committee to investigate the 125 fake delegates from the zone. Magaji made the appeal in an interview with journalists shortly after he was received by his team and supporters in Nasarawa Toto local government area on Sunday. He said that the primary was marred by irregularities, adding that they have filed a petition before the Federal High Court in Abuja.
Election for the Nasarawa West Electoral District, which I was a candidate, took place on the 4th of June 2022 after the postponement, after the series of postponement of that election. It finally came to the light on the 4th of June, and as God will have it, it was held peacefully. And I polled 114 votes, while my opponent was alleged to have polled 179 votes. Now, ideally, whether wrongly or rightly, he was a candidate. Soon after the election, facts emerged that touches on the credibility of the process, which we reviewed it and we discovered that there was a very, very fundamental controversy surrounding the process. One was that the delegates for KEFI and Nasarawa local government were not the delegates that were voted during the congresses for the purposes of the election which took place. And what we did was immediately file an appeal to the body statutorily established by the National Working Committee to so do, which was equally in line with the spirit of the Electoral Act, which, and of course the party constitution, which suggests that for any party member who has grievance must exhaust the internal mechanism of the party.
Still in politics, crisis is brewing up in the Kebbi State chapter of the APC as a result of intensive horse trading by party stalwarts over who will take control of the party ahead of the 2023 general elections. This has already led to the decamping of some major stakeholders, such as the former governor of the state and serving Senator Muhammadu Adamu Alero, to the opposition PDP, a situation which the opposition claims may weaken the APC at the 2023 polls. Correspondent Hamza Galadi Mazuru has more.
Kebbi State has for a long time been a peaceful and politically dormant state, even though politicians from the state have played prominent roles on the national political scene. But recently, the political atmosphere has heated up with a series of decamping from the major ruling APC to the PDP, the foremost and biggest opposition party in the state. This according to some of the political heavyweights that cross-carpeted from the APC to the PDP followed unreconciled differences arising from the choice of the party's flag bearer for the 2023 governorship elections.
The bone of contention was actually the conduct of ward congresses that was done at the ward level, at the local government level, and also at the state level. All the party executives that were loyal to either myself or the Senate leader were removed from the list.
Immediately after the decamping of Senator Muhammadu Adamu Alero, the Senate Majority Leader Dr. Yahya Abdullahi also announced his decamping to the PDP, hereby vacating his position as the leader of the Senate as he has decamped to the opposition.
I write to inform you of the withdrawal of my membership of the All Progressive Congress APC and consequently resign from my position as the majority leader of the Ninth Senate. I came to this decision after a very hard struggle with my conscience and emotions.
However, the governor of Kebbi State, Senator Abubakar Atiku Bagudu, while reacting to this development, said although it is not welcoming for anybody to leave the APC, but their decision to leave will not in any way affect the chances of the party at the polls.
APC Kebbi State, by God's grace, is not worried, but we regret that somebody will leave, whoever that person is.
On the other hand, other opposition parties described it as a good development, saying it will further improve their chances to make a good outing at the 2023 polls. The PRP, through its PRO Alhaji Abubakar Dakingari, said the PRP will surely utilize the opportunity to take over government in Kebbi State come 2023.
The public relations officer of the Kebbi APC, Alhaji Isa Asalafi, said the APC in Kebbi State will surely weather the storm and overcome all the crises as it has been doing in the past.
Hamza Galadimo Zuru reporting for Trust TV News from Birnin Kebbi.
The People's Democratic Party has set up a committee to screen candidates that have been selected as deputy governors. A statement from the National Publicity Secretary of the party, Debo Lugunaba, said the mandate for constituting the committee was pursuant to the provision of Part 5, Paragraph 11 of the Electoral Guidelines of the PDP. The National Working Committee of the party has approved the nomination of the party stakeholders that will serve on the constituted committee. It means nominated deputy governorship candidates of the party in all the 28 states where governorship elections are scheduled to hold are to be screened and verified. The committee, which is to be headed by the former national chairman of the party, Okwesilieze Nwodo, has Akilu Indabawa as secretary, while Sunday Omoboy is the administrative secretary. The screening exercise will hold at the National Working Committee Hall, PDP National Secretariat, Wadata Plaza, Abuja on Wednesday at 10 a.m. prompt. In education, Kaduna State Government has announced the dismissal of 2,357 teachers, including the national president of the Nigerian Union of Teachers, Audu Amba, for failing or refusing to sit for the competency test organized by the State Universal Basic Education Board. Kadsubeb said the board conducted a competency test for over 30,000 teachers in December 2021, adding that 2,192 primary school teachers, including the NUT national president, had been dismissed for refusing to sit for the competency test. Reacting, chairman of the NUT Kaduna State, Ibrahim Delhatu, said the competency test and dismissal of the teachers are illegal. Delhatu said they had secured a court order restraining the board from conducting the competency test, noting it conducted the test without recourse to the rule of law. And security. Gunmen have attacked Zira, a village in Toro local government area of Bauchi State, and abducted the village head Yaya Saleh Abubakar and his son Habibu Saleh. Confirming the incident, Bauchi State Police spokesman SP Muhammad Ahmed Wakil said that the gunmen attacked the village, which is under Rishi Police Division, a border village with Plateau State, around 2 a.m. Saturday night. Wakil said the Commissioner of Police Umar Muhammad Sanda had directed the divisional police officer in the area to rescue the abducted victims unhurt. He urged the public to remain calm and go about their normal business and report any suspicious activities. He said police are doing everything possible to ensure security of life and property. The abduction came 5 days after gunmen attacked Jimari communities in Al-Kaheri local government area, killing 4 people and injuring 3. The district head of Lame, Alhaji Aliyu Yakubu Lame, said the abductors had yet to contact the families. 2 of the kidnapped victims from Shola quarters in Katsina metropolis have regained freedom after paying 11 million naira as ransom. The abductees are Alhaji Tukur Turaiki and his wife Saadatu Turaiki. Abdullahi Yamadi met with the released couple at their residence in Katsina and now reports.
Though looking hale and hearty, This kidnapped victim describes how rough the road to the kidnapper's den is. He, however, started with his encounter with the terrorists at home before the journey to their den.
Later on, they say, okay, am I ready for them to kill me? Then I asked them, are you going to shoot me at the front or at the back? Choose, the option is for you. Then he would just hold my hand. He said, you don't even fear us. You are talking with us confidently. I said, we are all human beings. So from there, they carry me go outside my house.
The trauma of being forced out of their residence with his wife, leaving his second wife and children behind, readily comes to mind. After trekking for over 50 kilometers to the point where the terrorists kept their motorcycles, they rode to the forest throughout the day with 3 people on each bike.
Honestly speaking, my colleagues, they carry us there, I pity them. Because the way their relatives are begging them, they are not listening to them. Still, they are under their custody up to now.
How many of them?
They are 4 in number. Okay. 3 men, 1 woman. And that woman, she has a baby. That baby, I think she's for 5 months. Okay. Yes.
Though Turaki and his wife stayed there for only 2 days, he is concerned about the condition of some victims he left behind at the terrorist hideout. While narrating her ordeal, Turaki's wife, Hajia Saadatu, who is a professional nurse, says she was harassed, beaten, and intimidated by her abductors.
Sai na daga kaina ta window sai na ga su da kayan sojoji a jikinsu da bindiga a rataye. Sai na ce me ta window ne musu magana na ce me ya muku kuke dukan shi? Sai wani ya hasko ni da torchlight.
When I noticed the presence of strange people in our house on that fateful day, I thought they were military officers. While asking why they were beating our child, one of the terrorists slapped me twice and hit me with a gun. It was then that I realized that they were not officers.
Saadatu, looking emotionally exhausted, disturbed, weak, and tired, called on government to be more proactive in dealing with criminals terrorizing people of Katsina State and the country in general. Abdullahi Ismayamadi, Trust Television News, Katsina.
You're watching Trust News Update. Coming up after the break. Appeal of a spinal cord injury patient to Borno State government. Do stay with us.
Times have passed, and with it so many things that once were our visual delights. Technological advancement has brought about tremendous changes in the way and manner media deliver content to its audience.
As it continues to reposition itself to serve you much better, Media Trust Limited is rebranding its logo and visual identity to reflect our current vision and futuristic drive.
We have spread our tentacles beyond the pages of the newspaper to the digital space. The new logos and visual identities reflect the new scope of our multimedia reach.
Even with this development, however, we will continue to remain with you as we have always remained, committed to our founding philosophy, which is based on trust, integrity, openness, and courage.
The new logo, which is a marriage of a revolving globe and a mobile device, signifies the unlimited reach of our content on the digital space.
We are always the backbone of operations as we do our best to deliver content that suits your needs.
When you see a new trust title or platform in the next few days, therefore, do not be alarmed.
We remain committed to you and will continue to serve you through fair and responsible journalism.
Welcome back and thanks for staying with us. Let's take a look at some of our top stories. We told you that reactions trail APC victory in Ekiti State as SDP rejects result. We also told you that Kaduna State sacks NUT president, 2,356 teachers after competency test. In more news, hoodlums attacked the press crew attached to the Lagos State Governor on Sunday. The assault took place around Adeji Adele after journalists left the palace of Oba of Lagos, which Asiwaju Bola Tinubu, presidential candidate of the APC, also visited. An eyewitness, one of the journalists who was on the bus, said the road was blocked by many hoodlums who pelted them with stones and dangerous items. He said the bus windshield and side windows were all broken and some journalists injured. On a sad note, an unidentified female member of the National Youth Service Corps, a pregnant woman and 5 other passengers are feared dead in a boat mishap in Bayelsa. Police spokesman in the state, SPS Sinim Butswat, who confirmed the incident, said they were still waiting for more information to get the identity of the victims. He said the accident happened Saturday afternoon between Otuan and Ayama communities in the southern Ijaw local government area of the state. Daily Trust reports that the boat, which has a capacity for 15 passengers, rammed into a barrier in the waters and sank while approaching Ayama to berth amidst a heavy rainstorm. Reports say the boat and the corpses of the victims are still missing as of the time of filing this report, while local divers were on a search and rescue operation along the Ayama community coastline. Meanwhile, chairman of the Maritime Union of Otuan, Joseph Shadrack, said that the boat's driver, Lucky Christopher, who survived the accident, had been detained by the police for alleged reckless driving. A 37-year-old indigene of Borno State suffering from spinal cord injury after her involvement in an accident has cried out for help 22 years after the incident. Khadija Abba, who was a student of Yerwa Government Girls Secondary School in Maiduguri, was on a mission to represent the state in a sports event when she had the accident. The 37-year-old, who feels she was neglected by the Borno State government, is now calling on the state governor, Babagana Zulum, to revisit her case. Ibrahim Ismail reports.
This is a 37-year-old Khadija Abba, a former student of Yerwa Government Girls Secondary School, Maiduguri, who lives on a wheelchair. In 2000, she was nominated to represent Borno State in a sport competition abroad, but in the process, her team got involved in an accident which left her with spinal cord injury.
Sai muka samu hatsari a 2000 tsakanin Kano.
We had an accident in 2000 between Kano and Zaria. We were traveling to Lagos in a process to go to Morocco, from there to Italy. Then the accident happened. Since then, I was idle and neglected by the government. It was a spinal cord injury. If anyone gets involved in such incident, he must experience stigmatization, depression, and anxiety because of the ailment.
Komi aka masa ma shi wani lokacin sai ya ji kaman ba daidai ba saboda kalubalen jinyan nan da ya same shi.
Despite being an orphan, Khadija was neglected by the Borno State government, and bad treatment from her family forced her to leave home.
Daga nan daga gida raina ya bace gwamnati bata taimake ni ba.
Due to the government's negligence and trauma at home, then the Boko Haram crisis, I left Maiduguri to Gombe. I was received by the Association of Persons with Disability. I spent almost 12 years here in Gombe. However, Khadija defies all odds to be self-reliant as she ventured into cap knitting business. I can't engage in baking. You know there is cap knitting job in Borno, so I learned it. After the accident, I continue when I return here. I have customers. Khadija is optimistic if Governor Babagana Zulum knows about her plight, he will render a helping hand.
Barin ma shugabannin Borno ni su na fi so masu su gani
I want leaders from Borno to watch this because I got involved in the accident because of the Borno State government. They should take responsibility. Maybe sponsor my treatment in India. Maybe I will get better. Why shouldn't they provide me a shelter and source of living? I can even go back to school. Khadija's story and that of other persons with disability who shun street begging for self-reliance are justifying that there is always ability in disability. From Gombe, Ibrahim Ismail reporting for Trust TV.
The Federal Competition and Consumer Protection Commission has advised electricity consumers on estimated billing to track their bills to avoid discrepancies by electricity distribution companies. The Commission, in its official Twitter handle on Sunday, advised electricity consumers to always check their monthly bills for tariff band, also known as expected hours of daily power supply. The Commission, on a document titled A Guide for Unmetered Electricity Consumers, said that a consumer could contest his or her tariff band if the supply fell short of the required hours over a 60-day cycle. FCCPC also advised consumers to check the Nigerian Electricity Regulatory Commission amended order on capping of estimated bills for their distribution company. And finally, on the foreign scene, EU's top diplomat Joseph Borrell says Russia's blockade of Ukraine's ports, which is preventing grain exports and fueling fears of global food crisis, amounts to a war crime. This comes as Ukrainian President Vladimir Zelensky says he expects Russia to intensify attacks as Kyiv awaits an EU decision on its bid to join the bloc. Meanwhile, the governor of eastern Ukraine's Luhansk region warns fighting is raging almost around the clock in Severodonetsk as Russia presses for the full control of the strategically important city. And with this, we've come to the end of Trust News Update. Don't forget to follow us across all our social media platforms. I'm Dashin Husseina Usman. Thanks for watching.